Let's get into this big one right here. There's this new bill that everyone's just sending me articles about that says that they're calling to end of CDL Reciprocity within 6 months of enactment. Basically, right now, there are two countries that the United States deems as legit driver licenses, and that's in Canada and that's in Mexico. So the bill also contains a provision that would require the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration to terminate any existing reciprocity agreements that recognize foreign commercial driver licenses in the United States or permit holders foreign commercial driver's license to operate a commercial motor vehicle in the United States unless expressly authorized by a statute. So, of course, like I stated, currently the United States has an agreement with Mexico and Canada. But what are your thoughts about that? Do you think that Canadian and Mexican truck drivers should just drop off the load right at the border and then an American truck driver come and pick it up? Comment down below, because if this bill went through, that would definitely disrupt the way we have our transportation supply chain now in America. What's going on, Mutha Truckers? Welcome to Mutha Trucker News, where truck drivers send articles, videos, and we talk about these subjects here. The first one that I want to do a question of the day. You guys tell me what you guys would do with this. Let's have fun with this. Disclaimer: if you're in a situation, of course, always protect your license and just stop where you are. But this got a lot of comments on it. Basically, a mechanic was stating that, hey, the mechanic shop 18 miles away. My question to you is, as a driver, would you limp there or would you wait because a service call won't be able to get to you for another 24 hours?
Get put out of service, dude. That you just said it won't be till tomorrow until I get a tire. So this is my license we're talking with, trying to save $50 on a road call.
50. Okay, first of all, it's about $2,000 on a road call, which I don't care about. But there's only two shops that can do the road call right now. One of them's in Park City until 2 a.m. and the other one's on his way to Nevada, which is the TA. So I don't know why I'm not trying to not get you help or service.
That's not what I'm saying, buddy. Don't take it the wrong way.
Oh, okay.
I'm saying DOT already has a truck pulled over across the road. If I pull out of this truck parking lot and he sees me with a blown tire, he's probably gonna pull me over and put me out of service. I've been through this before and been put out of service because of it.
Okay. Okay. Right now, just stay where you're at. Under safety, I'm shutting it down until I will call some road service and give me 5-10 minutes and I'll call you back and we'll go from there and see what I can do.
Okay.
Okay.
So we talked about this major roadside inspection blitz that happens every single year, and that seems like that's when drivers take the day off. But the CVSA finally came out with the report, and from this 3-day campaign, they had 13,490 out of service orders. Right now, from the big scale, looking at everything, the CVSA did note that most of the vehicles, 81.6%, and the drivers, 94.1% inspected, did not have any out of service violations. So do want to give that a note first, that yes, 94% did not get put out of service, but that 13,490, they said 10,148 commercial motor vehicles placed out of service, 3,342 drivers placed out of service, and so vehicle out of service rate was 18.1% and driver out of service rate was 5.9%. Let's look at the chart here so that you know what people are getting put out of service for. Let's start with the actual vehicle itself. It says the brake system was actually number one. And it seems to be number one every single year, where 3,304 vehicles were put out of service for brake systems. Tires was number two, 2,899 were put out of service. 20% defective brakes, 2,257 put out of service. Lights, 1,737 put out of service. And cargo securement was actually 1,549 that were put out of service. Now, when we get to the driver violation, hours of service is always the biggest one that they get put out of service. So 1,076 drivers were put out of service for just having their logbooks, their hours of service just wonky, right? The number two thing, it seems to always make the list, but it always seems to be surprising to me, is that there were 810 drivers that had no commercial driver's licenses. We talked about Oklahoma. We talked about how they had that blitz operation sting at the port of entry, and over 25% of the drivers didn't have a CDL as well. You know, this is definitely a key reason why rates are down, because, you know, why, if every American driver is playing in the guidelines of the rules, and you got knuckleheads that don't have a CDL at all, you know, they're going to take and bid low and not take care of their equipment and not pay their drivers correctly and all these things. And then they're going to drive down rates. So this is a big issue. The number 3 one was no medical card. You know, 493 drivers were put out of service. Number 4, false logs, 332. And number 5, suspended driver's license, commercial driver's license, was 170. But that 810 drivers with no CDL at all, that's just crazy to me. But yeah, just want to give you guys some information on that. So to join a couple of the states that already came out, like Oregon, you know, New Mexico Motor Vehicle Division, MVD, announces a pause on CDL and CPL issuance and renewal affecting foreign nationals relying on an employment authorization card to substantiate their authorization to work in the United States. But it does state that the agency will continue to issue CDLs and CLPs to foreign nationals who present a foreign passport now with an approved I-94 arrival departure record. So they're getting stricter on their rules. This is interesting anytime that, you know, the trucking industry gets highlighted by 60 Minutes, right? People that are not in trucking get to see a small piece of what's going on. I thought this was important because, for one, it talks about double brokering, which is a big problem in trucking. And for two, people say that, you know, they had no clue that Guy Fieri owned a tequila company, right? So basically in 2024, this cargo theft scheme happened, and what they're stating is double brokering. And he owned this company called Santo Tequila with his counterpart business partner Sammy Hager. And basically when his shipment went across Laredo, Texas, it went missing. You know, they had fake GPS trackers, all these things. But the biggest thing about that is Santo, you know, or the logistic broker contracted a carrier to ship the load, and then this fake carrier, you know, rebrokers it out to another carrier to do it. And that's where all this fraudulent fake stuff is happening. And this is very common in the trucking industry. So just want to share, you know, I think the best thing that came out of this, and I'll share links to this video down below in the descriptions for you, is that Guy Fieri got a commercial out this, right? But it is an issue in the trucking industry and a big problem. So it's just wild, right? A fake broker rebrokers it to another fake broker, but uses a carrier. You know what I mean? It's wild. Mutha Truckers, just check this link out.